Why be ordinary when you can be flamboyant? Panseke Radio. Be flamboyant.
Good evening, and here are the major stories for today. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has stated that the blockade of the National Assembly by security operatives earlier today wasn't authorized by the presidency, insisting that it was a gross violation of constitutional order. The presidency's stance was communicated via a statement credited to the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to Osinbajo, Laolu Akande, and made available to journalists. The acting president, however, promised that all persons within the security agency who participated in the siege would be identified and subjected to appropriate disciplinary action. Meanwhile, the acting president has ordered the sacking of the Director General of the Department of State Service, Lawal Daura. A Twitter post by Osinbajo's spokesman, Laolu Akande, announced the termination and also said Daura has been directed to hand over to the most senior officer of the State Security Service until further notice. The termination is reported to have been in connection with the blockade of the National Assembly by the DSS and the police ahead of a scheduled meeting of the Senate leadership this afternoon. In another development, reports say the federal government may name the most senior director in the Department of State Service, Matthew Seyefa, as acting Director General. Seyefa reportedly arrived at the presidential villa at about 4 p.m. today and was received by an aide of the acting president. Shortly after, the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, also arrived for a meeting with Osinbajo. As at the time of filing this report, details of the meeting had yet to be disclosed to newsmen. Still on National Assembly matters, Senate President Bukola Saraki is to hold a World Press Conference on Wednesday, August 8 at 12 noon. Special Assistant to Saraki on International Relations, Bamikole Omishori, made this known to newsmen today, but declined to give details of the conference. Reactions have continued to trail the siege of the National Assembly by the DSS and the police today, as former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called for an independent judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the incident so as to identify and punish the perpetrators. Atiku, in a statement released today, also commended acting President Yemi Osinbajo for sacking the Director General of the DSS, Lawal Daura, saying his action has given meaning to the cries of Nigerians that the country would not tolerate such anti-democratic actions. Away from National Assembly matters, a federal high court in Lagos has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Nigeria Police and the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State to recognize and deal only with winners of the May 5, 2018 Congress in Ifo Wards 1, 2, 3 and 11. The court, presided over by trial judge MS Hassan, also ordered the state APC to conduct fresh Congress in Kuka Ward 10 for the election of a new Ward Executive Committee, since the ward election held on May 5, 2018 was inconclusive. Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Suleiman Kazaure, has warned corps members against night parties and organizing social events without the knowledge of the appropriate authority. Kazaure, while addressing corps members in Ikare Akoko, Ondo State this Tuesday, directed all social events must not hold without approvals. He said the scheme was devastated over the sad occurrence in Taraba State, in which 9 corps members got drowned during a picnic. The NYSC boss therefore urged corps members to respect the culture of their host communities and behave like graduates. And party documents and property of the Isoko South Local Government Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress in Delta State was today set ablaze by aggrieved party members. A source in the area who pleaded anonymity told newsmen that the incident was in reaction to Monday's inauguration of the chairman of the party in Ole Wards 1 and 2. According to the source, the members were displeased at the non-inclusive manner in which party chieftains were trying to harmonize ward executives of the party in that council area. In international news, wife of former Côte d'Ivoire President Simon Gbagbo has been granted amnesty by President Alassane Ouattara in what he says is a move to foster reconciliation. Gbagbo was in 2015 sentenced to 20 years for a role in the violence that followed the 2010 elections in which over 3,000 people died. Her husband, Laurent Gbagbo, is on trial at the International Criminal Court for Crimes Against Humanity. Speaking on state television, President Ouattara said through the amnesty, he wanted to bring about peace and real reconciliation. Gbagbo was among 800 people pardoned by President Ouattara. And US President Donald Trump has warned that anyone doing business with Iran will not be doing business with the United States, following his reimposition of sanctions on that country. Some reimposed sanctions took effect overnight, and tougher ones relating to oil exports will begin in November, according to reports. Iran has reacted to the warning, saying the measures were psychological warfare, which aim to sow division among Iranians. The European Union, which remains committed to the original agreement, has spoken out against the sanctions with a vow to protect firms doing legitimate business with Iran. In business, the Nigerian Communications Commission has signed a new memorandum of understanding with the National Lottery Regulatory Commission for the use of telecommunication networks to conduct lotteries in the country. Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, Omar Dambata, said at the ceremony that the lottery regulator will ensure the credibility of the process by making sure that whatever prices promised to those who participate in the lotteries is given to them. Director General of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, Lanre Gbajabiamila, hailed the partnership, saying that the collaboration between the NCC and his agency was necessary to foster and work together for the betterment of the country. And the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria said it has been appointed by the Central Bank as the Secretariat for the Alternative Dispute Resolution Platform for Mortgage Banks. A CIBN statement said the CBN had established a subcommittee on ethics and professionalism for mortgage bankers in a renewed effort to build public confidence as well as engender stability in the mortgage banking subsector of the Nigerian banking industry. The statement said the subcommittee would ensure the settlement of disputes between mortgage banks and their customers on one hand and among the mortgage banks on the other. Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of CIBN, Sheye Awojobi, also lauded the establishment of the subcommittee, describing the development as a noble initiative, and called on mortgage bank customers and the banks to take the opportunity of the platform to resolve their disputes with the banks and among themselves. In entertainment, Margot Robbie has shared the first photo of herself playing murdered actress and model Sharon Tate in Quentin Tarantino's new film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Robbie will play Tate, who was killed by members of the notorious Manson family while heavily pregnant in 1969. Tate's sister, Deborah, initially accused the film and another in the works starring Hilary Duff of being exploitative, due in part to their release dates being planned to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the murders, but has now given it her support. Tate, married to director Roman Polanski and was 8.5 months pregnant at the time, was one of the 9 people brutally killed by followers of cult leader Charles Manson, atrocities that shocked America. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt also have roles as a former TV star and his longtime stunt double in the movie. And in sports, former chairman of the Old Nigeria Football Association, Abdulmumin Aminu, has called for the introduction of an enabling law for the Nigeria Football Federation. Aminu told reporters today during an interview that the NFF was being run illegally at the moment and therefore needed an enabling law for effective football administration in the country. He also called on the National Assembly to urgently enact laws which would enhance the operations of the Football Federation. And the Confederation of African Football has served a 10-year ban on 6 Ghanaian referees and won a lifetime ban from all CAF-related football activities. The referees were said to have been indicted in the Anas Aremeyo Anas documentary on corruption in Ghana and West Africa. A CAF statement listed the banned referees to include assistant referee David Laria, who was served a lifetime ban, Lathbridge Reginald, Nanantier Eric, Fleischer Cecil, Dawood Wadrogo, Malik Salifo, technical instructor Joseph Wellington, and a female referee Teresa Akongiam. The sanctions were determined at a meeting of the disciplinary board on August 5. Those are the major stories for today. I am Binta Bhadmus.
Why be ordinary when you can be flamboyant? Panseke Radio. Be flamboyant.